Hello, Rec187, and welcome back to A Rule Awaits 2 as Austria-Hungary. Where in the last stream, or episode, depending on how you consume this, we had a bit of a heartache where we had our politicians caved against the combined forces of Britain and France, and we sued for peace and gave up territorial claims, rightful Austro-Hungarian territorial claims in the Mediterranean. So Corsica and Rhodes were transferred over to French. Essentially, although we quote unquote won the war in terms of sinking of ships and victory points and all those fun stuff you look for as a player. You know, we give the Royal Navy a good trouncing, which is what we like. Not without our own losses. You know, we certainly took hits, but we sunk a lot more of theirs. But we'd failed to handle the raiding, both the surface raiding and the small amount of submarine raiding they had, and just our unrest went crazy. Eventually getting up to about 10, I think it was, where the politicians finally said, "No, enough's enough. Let's give up." So yeah, I was pretty frustrating, and it's left us in a bit of a precarious situation. So we're in 1949. So I don't want to run the game on definitely, because you end up ending up everyone just gets the max research and all kind of evens out. But I would like to have another crack at seeing if we can take these guys down and really completing this Mediterranean dream that we started this run with. So that's what we're going to do. But we got a few things to get over before we get there. So we have a look at our... Hey, Potbellied Slim, how's it going? Yeah, your binge is finished just in time for all the drama. If we have a look at our fleet, so it's pretty small at the minute in terms of what you expect maybe back in 1950s. We have lost a fair few ships in terms of in the last two wars, not only with France and Britain, but also before that against Italy. And the biggest kind of shortfall we have is definitely around our cruiser forces. So our main battle line is essentially old and obsolete. But that's fine. Our cruisers, we currently have one heavy, one light, which is not very good. Our air arm's actually reasonable. So what was that? 4 CVs, 3 CVLs. That's okay. And destroyers is all right, and we are building some more. So if we look at the almanac, actually, in terms of battleships, yeah, I suspect Britain's are better, but we stand up fine against kind of Britain and France at the minute. CVs again standing up okay, and CVLs all in a pretty good neighbourhood in terms of if we want to roll straight into the conflict. But yeah, the cruiser forces is really where you see the difference. You know, we're outmanned kind of 18, well not 18 but 13 obviously to 1 for French there, and yeah, British obviously favouring light cruisers, but again 17 to 1. And then destroyers, we need a few more, but it's not the end of the world. So that's definitely where the hole in our fleet is. Also slight money problems at the minute. Unfortunately the war ended kind of mid-month, so quite frustratingly, we had a massive reduction in our budget, and then we didn't get to correct it before it was all spent. So we're sitting negative now, so I need to fix that. That's okay, we can manage that, and then we'll have to look at what we're going to build. So currently under construction, we've got a heavy cruiser and some destroyers, and a pretty decent heavy cruiser at that. But we are going to have to think about how we want to try and reshape and rebuild our forces for picking a fight with Britain and or France, and that is what we're going to be aiming to do, probably as quickly as we can, to be honest. Let them rest, chill down a little bit, and then see how quickly we can get into a fight with either Britain or France. Preferably just one of them. 2 at a time was pretty tough. I think 1 we could certainly take. So we're not going to be able to kind of design our fleet perfectly, so we've got to think about how we want to spend our money. And I think we're essentially, for this kind of design philosophy and fleet philosophy, we're going to have to go for essentially saying that for the large enemy ships, so battleships, probably CVs as well, and to an extent heavy cruisers, we're going to have to rely on our air power to sink them, and we still do have pretty good air power, obviously med, you know, to be expected, and really concentrate on kind of trying to build up our heavy cruisers and our light cruisers to kind of strengthen our screen and to be able to clear out their screens, because obviously they're harder to hit targets for the air as well. And yeah, I think we'll maybe try and build a few ships with that aim in mind. Ideally, I would love a fast battleship or a battle cruiser just to bomb around and boss the seas. But I don't think we're going to have the money for that in the immediate future. So, speaking of money, let's sort our budget. First off, I don't want to do that. Right, that's my most recent Hasberg. Let's put everyone else onto reserve for now. I'm probably going to put him on reserve. It's not that good of a fighting force. And in fact, I'm going to mothball as much of these as I can. I'll keep my new heavy cruiser on active. I'll keep my one CV on active, and we'll put all these guys onto reserve. Really quick. In fact, no, I'm going to mothball my lights. They're not that important. And which one's it? Yeah, this one, who's also my conversions, only has 40 aircraft. I will mothball him as well. Good. Destroyers, you can all just get mothballed, as can my corvettes. Now the question is, how much can I get away with mothballing these guys up here? We'll try 2. We'll see if we get shouted at for that. Oh wow, and we need to go to our air. And we need to put everyone to reserve here as well. And that still hasn't fixed our deficit. That is supremely disappointing. Because we are spending a little bit, but we're not spending that much on building projects at the minute. Alright, let's see if we can mothball a little bit more. I don't really want to mothball these things, but I might have to. Cool. These are on reserve. We'll mothball our EVLs. I think we might actually go and trim down some of our air forces as well. Even if we hold all that. Oh, then we get massive positive. Alright. What can we afford to build? Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do 1 month with everything halted just to push us positive again, and then we can start rebuilding. But as you can see, money's pretty tight. Some of it is, of course, this massive naval budget of 10 million on airable aircraft. That's pretty expensive. And in fact is, yeah, it's like half our budget is on naval aircraft. So we might want to look at trimming some of these down if we think it's over the top. But also it's what's win wars. Let's quickly go to the next turn. Oh, we can get the statistic from aircraft, and they were mainly shot down by fighters and other aircraft. Okay. Alright, so we're now positive, and we have had our budgets kind of readjusted slightly. Okay, so there's, presumably there's a delay there in the aircraft going to reserve, so that's what it was. Yeah, all the numbers have come down now. Good, so that's freed up a little bit of money. So we should be able to restart building here. Ish. All land-based air units dropped to 5. I'm not sure if what you mean by that. I do also have obsolete things we need to deal with at some point, but I think we need to worry about freeing up cash for that first. T-A-L-I. Do not. Oh, all. Yeah, sorry. Not ALI, you meant all. Oh, I see what you mean, and just manually trim the aircraft numbers. Ah, that's not a terrible idea. And then just build them back up when you go to war. Okay. Obviously, you lose off experience, but right now, money is far more important than experience. Good, so that's freed up a little bit of cash. And we're going to need to spend it on refits. We'll see if we can afford this one. So one other thing I was looking at just in between streams. Now anything not on a ship goes to 5 in peacetime. Yeah, it's good. Let's say you lose the experience, but save a whole bunch of money. So actually, yeah. What was I going to say? Ah, yeah. So our speeds here are garbage. I mean, these ships are pretty terrible. Ideally, you'd get rid of them and get nice new ones, but we don't have the money for it. And we also want to keep them less for their combat ability and more for their blockade ability, or rather anti-blockade ability. So they can give us some points when we're fighting the French and British, so we don't end up blockaded again. But it would be quite nice to refit them when we're doing them anyway, to see if we can get them to go a little bit faster. And it's not horrendously expensive. If we have a look at this guy, for example, so this is again really old. He's a glorified heavy cruiser, to be perfectly honest. If we were to replace the machinery, you'd get them up to 25 knots for about 20 million. I probably also want to switch his secondaries around to actually turrets rather than casemates, even if you've got to drop them down 6 inches. Okay, so it's about 24 million, which is, it's not nothing, it's not a bit of cash, but you know, if you think of a new, well, what is our new heavy cruiser costing? I don't know, it's probably going to be about 50 or 60, something like that. And this way, he'll actually be half useful in a fight. Not super useful, but a little bit. And at 1.2 a month, we can afford that. Spend the rest on his AA. Probably want to directors. Just give some preservation so he doesn't get sunk. What would it cost to build a small battleship? Well, we can have a look at that in a moment. I should tell what can we retrofit a SAM on here actually? That might be interesting. Just right in the middle of a ship. Weight's a bit of an issue. A lot of an issue. 380 tons. Yeah, they are quite heavy. And that is quite a bit more expensive. Nah, I'll take it off. Don't think that's worth it. We can, yeah. He does have a little bit of weight remaining. There we go. Okay, so it's going to cost us like 26 million. Again, not nothing, but at least he'll be of some use when we get into a fight. Click one, that's fine. Just checking if there's anything else. Quick check. Oh yeah, a little bit more. Come down there. Go. Perfect. All right, do that. And rebuild that dude. So if we were building a... designing a new small battleship. And well, here's a good question. By small, what kind of tonnage are you thinking of? So as you can see, a proper, you know, full one is about 160 odd. If you were to trim it down and say, well, I'm only looking for, I don't know, 30,000 tons. All forward armament, interesting. So reduce some of that, call it, say, hey, we don't need to go that fast. We're going to be short range. Oh, there you go. So, I mean, much more finessing to be done. It's not the greatest armament in the world, though. I probably want a few more, which we most definitely couldn't afford. But even that's 100 million. So, you know, even something small and fast, not small, but small battleship, I suppose, is not cheap. And it'd be nice to build something like that, or anything like that, but ain't gonna happen. Okay, we've got a tiny bit of money left, so we could use it just to refit these guys, because they need done, so we might as well do it. And as ever, it's just going to be a lick of paint, and away you go. I don't think I need to make any changes here, actually. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, this doesn't really matter. These things are just cheap trade protection. serve no other purpose. We've still got a tiny little bit positive. Let's do some of these destroyers. It's annoying when we've got like one left from each class. Actually, or two separate pythons, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Alright. You've got... Oh, you've only got one 5-inch gun. Yes, you're a torpedo boat and a torpedo boat only. I remember. Doesn't really make any difference, but sure, we'll give you an extra AA gun. That'll do. There's only one of you. Let's not get too excited. Fine, and I suspect this will be very much the same. No, not rebuild, open design for rebuild, please. Yeah. Oh, this was slightly more armed. Bit of an old one, can we move up? Go central firing. Still using it? Yes, but that's only because I didn't realise how to destroy bases, which I now do, so I'm probably going to go and get rid of them. Because it's a bit silly to be using airships at this point in the game. Alright, fine, I'll not get too excited. It's one ship. That'll do. Before I forget... I can't remember how to do it now. This one, coastal fortifications. Yes. I think airship based, that's how we do it. Yeah. Ah. Perfect. To be honest, I don't know how useful these mortar torpedo boats are either. I've not actually seen them do anything. So... yeah, I might just get rid of them. How much is that? Well, a couple hundred a month. Covers new ship. Yeah. Good. Look out. Probably don't need all these coastal batteries now either, to be honest. They're not that expensive, and they're probably a little bit more useful. Okay, wow, that actually freed up quite a lot of monthly balance. That is pretty useful. Let's get this guy done and dusted. I don't think there's going to be anything much happening here. No, it's fine. Yeah, I had, well, you'll have seen if you binge the episodes that the torpedo boats were causing problems. Do you know, that's... no, we might try and get you a better firing, because you actually have reasonable guns. There we go. What was I going to say? Yes, yeah, we did say that, but I just wanted to play around with them, to be honest, but I didn't feel like they were much use, so I can't say we're rushing to do it again. Okay, we still have 1.9 million. That's not bad. We do need to redesign this guy, and we're starting with negative weight, which is always fun. I'm not sure what's happened there. Suppose we'll just trim some of your tertiaries. That'll have to do you. This was our conversion? Yeah. As you can probably tell, because it means I drew this graphic myself, which is terrible. You reckon I've played the budget game well? Oh, that's good to hear. It's, I don't know, I always feel like I'm up short against my enemies. But then that's part of the current experience of Real Ways, where the AI doesn't sink each other's ships yet. Okay, short range. Our rate of fire doesn't really matter. These things shouldn't be firing anything. Good. And we might even be able to get this guy. So this is... I think this was our first purpose-built carrier. Or class of carriers. Wilhelm itself no longer with us. And we start life short on weight. Which is a bit frustrating. That trims quite a lot of your HAA. I don't really want to do that. I don't have much of a choice, to be honest, though. Certainly not taking a plane off you. Nah, it's not really worth it. Suppose we'll just trim off our other AA support. Okay. Leave your HA factor, and you should be having a cap anyway to help your defense. Okay. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Okay, and we still have 1 million. So, I mean, I'd quite like... How much is one of these things? Kaiser und König Maria Theresa. Show me your design, please. I do quite like them. You know, 9 8-inch guns forward, all forward armament, autoloaded. I mean, these chew up cruisers pretty well. Yeah, there's 60 odd million. Okay, what I might do actually is just save this for a little bit to build up a little bit of a surplus. Let my refits finish and then see what we're playing with, and potentially I'll look to build something new. More deck armor. Well, we had... Yeah, where is it? It's got... Yeah, it's only got a 2. It's got flight deck, which I know is not the same thing. So it is 3.5 inches in most of the coverage, but not all of it. But you probably want a little bit more. But I'm not gonna retrofit that, I don't think. Right, let's crack on a couple of turns. We'll go for the win. I don't want a war with Germany, but I'm happy to push the pressure. Oh, Messier, sorry. Ah, you are right. Yes, that is not very much deck armor when it's going to be facing a lot of bombs. Alright, so maybe we'll not build any more of these as they are and build a newer one. Yeah, good torpedo defense, which is probably less important now. Not as good deck. Okay. Something to be aware of. Rising prosperity leads to increased costs for maintaining ships. Well, that's terrible. 1.5 inch build. Only 1.5 inch deck. Yeah, something we could easily sink with air. 12 10-inch guns though. We're a lot more heavily armed. Only 13,000 tons though. That's surprisingly small actually. Yeah, okay. Finish some of our rebuilds. You want to give us a new torpedo bomber, which is generally always better, and this one is slightly faster, slightly tougher. Yeah. Just have a quick check of our aircraft. We don't have any proposals on go at the minute. Our fighters, no, these are not our most recent ones. We can obsolete you. Our flying boats are 5 years old. Let's go for new ones of them. Our current range is massive, so I don't really feel like I need to prioritize that. These things are essentially used for scouting off land, air, and for ASW. What do I want out of you? Do I want reliability? Actually, do I want that as a first? Nah, not really. I don't feel like I need to push the range anymore. Bomb load's not that important, or you're already carrying 2 2,000 pounders, which is pretty impressive. Actually, no, I'm going to toughness and reliability, which is a combo I don't think I've ever used before. The thing being, as they are used for scouts from a land basis, I want them to be able to survive contact with enemy fighters. And reliability is just always good. A little bit average, so can't complain too much. Did I go through? Yeah, that went through. Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. Keep going. Wait, we've got a couple million surplus. We should have, hopefully now. Nice. Okay, let's have a look at everyone who's active, because a lot of you shouldn't be. You can go reserve. You can go mothball. These guys can go mothball. As can they. Alright. 3 million. Well, let's see if we can't design ourselves a better version of that heavy cruiser then. I would like probably 2 more. Although we're after going to build them in drips and drabs. In fact, maybe. How long will it last? 17 months. It's quite a long time. Let's wait till these. Oh no, it's that one. 19 months, even longer. Let's wait for 6 months or so till most of these destroyers are finished, and then we can build ourselves a pair of heavy cruisers. I'm gonna go national. I don't want to fight the US, but there's so much room in tensions that's not going to be a problem. We're on the way to understanding plastic fittings. That's good. Improved ASW torpedoes. Nice. Yeah, that's fine. We can handle that. Italian wants to buy the rights to that. Yeah, I have no issues with the Italians at the minute. Don't intend to fight them again. French governing is selling us stuff. Yeah, I'll take it. Trading tech. I think we came out ahead. African colony and focus on power of colonial ambitions. Good, I don't think we're going to start a war on this. Out of that. More ASW. Oh, blind fire. Nice. Cool. We can do that kind of over the horizon stuff. Engine's rising, but not insurmountable. And how much is our current? 2.6. We don't quite have enough to build them both, but if we do a design study now, by the time that finishes, we probably will. Do we need to tweak your aircraft types and the bases? Probably. Let's go have a look at that after we've built this heavy cruiser. Right, if we'll just start with something you suggest. Very small heavy cruiser. Right, let's start with, I can find it. That one. Maybe we'll tweak it from there. So we do want more deck. Which, if we want the speed, is going to cost us weight, which is not surprising. Stick a couple of 1,000 tons on her. And we've kind of doubled her deck thickness. We've got 6 inches on the turrets, which is okay. And we're good against our own guns, but our own guns are only 8. So if we're up against, say, the British, for example, who are rocking 10s, then, yeah, since we get within about 13,000 yards, they're going to be punching holes in us. And they had 4.5 inch armor, which, to be fair, we are hitting them from slightly further out. So theoretically, we could play the distance game, although in reality, I never play the distance game. Not through a dislike of it. Just in battles I always seem to close the range. We do have 500 tons, which you can play around with. No, wait. And we could go up to 18. That doesn't really make sense in terms of 2 turrets and how that works out, but I'll not argue with that. Or instead, we could just throw an extra inch in our turrets. Is sorely tempting. Apparently we couldn't. Ah, you know we can. I've left my 10-inch up here. Back down to 8, back down to autoloader. And we still got 300 odd tons we go with. We could do that. So we are same speed as our existing heavy cruisers. Same armament. But we've moved our deck from 2 to 4.5 and our turrets from 6 to 7. Yeah, we've got latest there. I like it, I think. Yeah, a bit more survivable. And a little bit more expensive, but not too much. Without going crazy on costs and things. Alright, let's do it. We need a new name. Adria, apparently. Sure. That's fine, that's fine. Go for it. 3 months, we'll have just about cleared out the rest and we can build a couple more. I like it. Okay. That's one nice thing of being at peace is a bit more money to play around with and having lost some ships, but we'll talk about that. Okay, so if we look at our air bases. So if we grab Benghazi, which should be a fairly standard example of an 80 plane base. We'd gone for flying boats, torpedo bombers, dive bombers, and fighters. I think we were having... So 20, 40, 60. So I think it was 40 dive bombers, 20 torpedoes, 10 boats, and 10 fighters was our standard kind of 80 makeup. We might want to increase the fighters slightly. Maybe do kind of a 20, 20, 10. So 20 torpedoes, 30 dive bombers, 15 torpedoes and 15 boats. Although actually, having looked at the almanac, no one has that many submarines anymore. So maybe 10 boats an airbase is ample, really. I think that's a reasonable mix. Don't have any medium bombers, but like I say, hanging about the med, especially with the ranges all the aircraft have now got to, not really required. That's just going to be a case of we need to make sure we bump up the numbers before we get into a war. Alright. Protests in Great Britain against high arms expenditure and reduces naval spending. Excellent. Independence to Falklands. Interesting. We could embarrass Italy. I don't really care about embarrassing Italy. I don't really want to reduce tensions too much. I don't want to end up in a war. I think we'll be okay. I think there's enough headroom here that this won't hurt us. Aircraft carrying airships. Oh, that reminds me, I should tweak my research priorities. An offensive base. Increased aircraft. As tension rises, makes us 10, 20, 20, 20. Yeah, I agree. I think that's what I had it before, the 10, 20, 20, 20, 10. Thank you. Music, right. I had another thought there, I can't remember what it was. Research, that's what it was. We wanted to find my light of an air, and it's already on low, good. Come with destroyers. American battlecruiser, which I'm sure looks very nice. 11 15-inch guns. Okay. Surprised not more secondaries, to be honest. 30 knots, good speeds, reasonable armor. Still has aircraft. Oh, that's, I suppose so. Need to operate in wider areas. Angled flight deck. Ah. I have not seen any breakthroughs, so I'm just going to go straight to the build screen. And we'll build 2 of those. Excellent. And we still have money? Still have money, wow. Okay, this is good. So what I'm actually going to do is take this opportunity to rebuild these guys. Maybe not all of them at once, because I doubt I can afford that. Certainly one of them. And again, same principle as before. These things are not... well, they're terrible. And they're certainly not going to stand up to modern battleships, but I'd quite like them to at least be useful. And at 21 knots, they're not really useful. But we can pretty cheaply get this guy up to 25, which will match the other one we're doing. And therefore we can form a kind of coherent battle line that's got about 25 knots. Anything else we want to do? I don't want to spend too much money, but I don't want to use the weight you've got. Your ammo's a bit low. I suppose we could give you a little bit more. And just use out the weight here. Have you got the best? You do now. Oh, too many. So again, these things aren't really going to stand up well in a fight. They're there more just to act as points towards the blockade. We'd like them to at least be vaguely useful. Now we could go speed, to be fair. Give me some extra AA. Yeah, I think it's probably worth it. Could I squeeze in a few more rounds? I could do, excellent. More for the secondary and tertiary than the main guns, but... okay. Still need to be defense 1. But, yeah, so can't take too much of a battering. Especially only a 2-inch deck. Yeah, these things are a bit fragile. That should do a check. I've gone over by 1, I'll fix that in a minute. And we've got a rate of fire mod on our penalty on our 6-inch guns, but that's fine. Okay. It's going to cost me 1.5, so I can do 2 of them at the minute, and I will do. And again, all it's doing is making them a little bit useful. Oh, this is interesting. A secure arrangement with France. Well, it's going to be no. So, if only they hadn't taken that land from us, I could have made peace with them. Yeah, Get stuffed, France. Bomber bait in the 50s. True that. True that. New flying boat. Yeah, so range is fine. I mean, some of this is reduced, but like still more than we need. Bomb load slightly reduced, but that's not really a problem either, to be honest. Speed's much for muchness. And just grab this guy in the middle here. So, no, guy in the bottom. He's got massive range. All for one less maneuverability, which doesn't really matter. Yeah. Let's look who's active at the minute. Who's working up at the minute? All these destroyers. Don't bother working up. And at 3.4, I should be able to get that last Zerny going. No, that's not what I want. Just rebuild. Okay. So we need to be a little bit careful as these things are out of action for just over a year. So I might not want to get into war with France too soon, although they don't have much in the way of heavy ships either. And ultimately, this guy, who's reasonable, have a look at him. You know, 12 16-inch guns, not too bad. Deck's a little bit light. We're probably going to eventually replace his machinery to get him up to 28 knots, and then he'll be a fast battleship and will turn up in cruiser engagements. And that'll be a bit of a stopgap for our lack of battle cruisers at the minute, but it's quite expensive. I've got to go to speed for him. Yeah, it's going to cost me 50 million just to rebuild him, which is a lot. It is a lot. But a new battle cruiser is 150, so still cheaper. But we'll probably wait until these guys are out before we do that, just so we're not completely without capital ships. We do still have a surplus. The choice is either continue to expand our destroyers, of which we've got 25, so a little bit more would probably not go amiss. 2 more coming, 27. Wouldn't mind another bunch actually, so let's have a look at this Ispra. Although we can only afford 2 more of them at the minute. So 33 speed, he's got 2 6-inch alt-loaded guns. Not as many torpedoes, but he does have a SAM. This was a bit of an odd design, as we moved into less suicide torpedo run destroyers and tried to get ones which maybe survived a bit longer. But I like the idea of trying to maybe go into more of a preservation of our fleet than just getting everyone killed all the time. Especially with the increased ranges and radar firing, our ability to kind of snipe enemy ships is going to be less and less as years goes by. So, how many could afford of these? 2 and stay positive. Probably want to wait, to be honest. Well, these are all a long way away. Let's do it. Let's lay a couple more down. I mean, I think that might be the end of this class. So bring us just shy of 30. I think it's a reasonable number. Okay, there's another one out. Oh, which means actually we can build the number 30. Excellent. Let's build me 1 more of these. Okay, so that should be at 30 destroyers, which I think is a good number to have. We will need to grab some corvettes at some point. Fleet escort DD, yeah, exactly. Well, kind of like that. Can do, you know, survive in an anti-air role, survive okay in an anti-destroyer role, and has torpedoes. Oh, you think it's time to increase the air units a little bit? Well, I've just spent all my money. We'll get a little bit more in a couple of months. But you're right, I'm living a little dangerously. Wow, what a rubbish ship. Oh yeah, I mean, it's they carry 20 aircraft, that's not to be sniffed at, and it's probably pretty cheap at 10,000 tons, but that is not going to survive much. Okay, we've got a little bit of money. Let's do our air group thing. Some of these are a bit odd. Or did I fix them? No, they're okay. I think our very original ones had lots of small groups, which I didn't really like. I got the theory behind it, but in practice, I don't think it worked very well. Alright, let's see what that does to our budget. But yeah, like it's a good way of doing it, actually, kind of raise and lower your number as the tensions rise and fall. Because otherwise I would just find myself at war and then realise I've got no aircraft anywhere. And with that, we're going to bring this episode to a close. So a slow start to the rebuild and modernisation yet again of our navy, but we do need to take a little bit of time to take stock and change the direction of the fleet, so we are prepared for future combat with either Britain or France. As ever, this was taken from a Twitch livestream. If you're interested in coming out and hanging out with us, then there's a link in the description below. Otherwise, I do hope you enjoyed the episode, and I'll catch you in the next one.